Man, Dr. Life in the business of saving lives. Dr. Life in the business of saving lives. Wedding Feast Wednesday. It's Wedding Feast Wednesday. It's Wedding Feast Wednesday once again. I'm a first responder, responding to man-made disasters. Artificial, unnatural, man-made disasters. It's your boy. It's your boy. Fake King of New York. It's your boy's image of Holy Grail. Holy Grail. This is Jay-Z's definition of Holy Grail. Wedding Feast Wednesday. This is our definition of Hollywood Grail. They call this month in the sports arena, we call this month March Madness. They call this month March Madness. When they hold the basketball tournament for the NCAA, the unnatural arrangement, the unnatural slave arrangement that they got, where they got our brothers generating trillions of dollars for fun, for they claim for education. All of these unnatural arrangements that have our people trapped in a society that wastes and squanders priceless talent. And there's no greater institution that's being squandered and wasted. There's no greater institution that's being squandered and wasted in this unnatural system than the wedding, than the merry hearts of our women. So we changing the name of this month. Because a year ago, my brother, Spider Lope, called me up. It's like, yo, I got that Crenshaw merch. I got the direct plug on that Crenshaw gear. I said, what? Since 2006, we have been going with an organization and doing Break the Cycle. We have been going to the gang-infested neighborhoods of Crenshaw in LA and telling the shorties there that they could break the negative cycles. They could break the negative cycle. We was proof that you could make a new cycle. We guarantee that we could give you access to the resources that it will help you lead the cycle. And for your neighborhoods and your community and your society and your life and your home and your family, you could recycle the cycle. Instead of a generational curse to poverty, you can hand down a generational layered cycle of prosperity and abundant life. From 2006, we was going into the hood in LA through a high school, Crenshaw High. So he had been reunited with one of his partners from Crenshaw, Nipsey. And him and Nipsey was in the studio March of last year. I'll never forget, March the 10th. March the 10th. My main man, SBI, who just like Nip, because he ain't nothing like these rap niggas. 50 Cent, who tried to sign him to G Unit, but wasn't worthy. Didn't have the manhood enough to be able to identify the gold mine that he had. So these brothers is doing it independently. They doing it on their own. They doing it off of the strength of their own manhood. They running the race. Standing up, representing. And so on Wedding Feast Wednesday, I'm assembling the team. All of them family members from across the country. No longer are we going to let our kings be out here fending for themselves independently. They not independent. They belong to a team and a family group. They not independent. They not going it alone. They got an army and a squad that you have to answer to. When you try and take these kings off the playing field. When you try and silence the fact that they telling these shorties coming up, you ain't got to be like these rap niggas. We ain't nothing like these rap niggas. You ain't got to be like these rap niggas. You don't gotta perpetuate the curse. And every Wednesday, we're going to show you the curse that has been perpetuated as far as marriage and as far as relationship. We're going to show you the perpetuation of the destruction of the home, which the individuals who control niggas like this nigga named Jay. Listen. This cat is not a mogul. When you build something yourself, this cat has been artificially manipulated and planted to promote this, the counterfeit to this. Wedding Feast Wednesdays. At the root of Wedding Feast Wednesdays is something called the Lady Killer. A merry heart doeth good like a medicine. A merry heart. A merry heart doeth good like a medicine. But a broken spirit drieth the bones and kills. Break the spirit. A broken spirit is the opposite of a merry heart. A merry heart doeth good like a medicine. The King of Kings, this is why he said, husbands, love your wives. Husbands, give your wife the Mary Heart medicine. And if you fail, if you fumble, if you accept the counterfeit, they're gonna break her spirit and then break your home. When they break the spirit, they're gonna break your bride, they're gonna break your children, and your finances gonna reflect it. Your community's gonna reflect it. Your inability to be prosperous is gonna reflect it. When they break her spirit, it's called the lady killer. To my ladies, my queens out there. To my ladies and queens out there. The rap nigga factory that's filled. I'm going to show you what they look like. Filled with the Jay-Z, the Puff, the Rick Ross. Filled with the DJ Khaled. Filled with the Drakes. To my ladies, they are exactly what they're paid to be. Clowns. They're the hired clowns. And you gotta know that there are real kings out here who know exactly the value the priceless value that our queens bring to the table. We ain't accepting no counterfeit narrative. It's not a question about orientation. We're not confused. We ain't coexisting. We ain't agreeing. We ain't acknowledging. We ain't bowing down. We not nothing. You gotta know that the lady killer is designed to give you to throw in the towel, to cause you to accept and settle for the unnatural. It's time to fight the lady killer.
For generations, heart disease has been our #1 killer, striking women of every age, color, and culture. Heart disease claims one woman every minute, killing more women than men and more women than all cancers combined. I don't know about you, but I intend to stay alive. Fight the lady killer. Get heart checked.
And most of y'all think heart disease is a natural. Heart disease ain't natural. A merry heart doeth good like a medicine, but a broken spirit drieth the bone and kills. Heart disease ain't natural. We're in the business of saving lives, first responders to man-made, unnatural disasters. Heart disease.
So they say it's a man's world?
Well, I don't see anybody's name on it. While they were out doing their thing, we slowly changed all that. We changed all that. Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
Heart disease ain't natural. And the fact that it's killing women, in greater numbers than it's killing men. A merry heart doeth good like a medicine, but a broken spirit drieth the bone and kills. First responder to unnatural, man-made, artificial disasters. The war that's being waged on the family. The lady killer, the artificially manufactured lady killer. Is designed to break the spirit of each and every queen and dry the bone. That's what it looked like in real time. That's what it looked like. That's what it look and sound like in real time.
For everybody that's really sitting there thinking that this was some gang shit, it definitely was not. They are trying to kill us with our food. They're causing, all these diseases are man-made. I need y'all to understand that. All these diseases are man-made. Somebody with a platform is speaking on it to bring light to it. Y'all finally want to pay attention, and they killed this man. Y'all better wake up and realize that they are not playing. Like, I'm so emotional right now, but I need y'all to understand.
On March 10th, I get a call. Yo, we in the studio with Nip. My brother sent me the track. Yo, we about to put the team together. Forget the labels. Forget the industry. I don't need Fifth. He don't need Puff. He don't need Rick Ross. He don't need Jay. We got the internet. We real men with real lives come from these streets where our people is at, wallowing every day with a story, raising real children. My brother got 6. I got 4. Nip and Lauren was raising 3. We have been doing it independently all of this time so we could say what we want to say. So we could do it how we want to do it. Nobody get to tell us what manhood look like. Ain't no corporate narratives. Ain't no fake political civil right. Fake civil right movement of fake oppressed peoples pushing agendas to program and attack and destroy the family unit. We finally got a team together. We're going to put this machine behind this team. And we're going to let the whole world know we ain't nothing like these rap niggas. "21 days later, they killed my man. 21 days later, they killed. And I want to let the family know. More importantly, I want to let all of my brothers and sisters out there. You can't be on the sideline. You cannot be on the sideline. This happens to kings in our circle when you want to play the sideline. When you don't want to be actively involved in being on the front line. Saying like, yo, whatever y'all doing, y'all got to take that over there. Over here in this neck of the woods, in this portion of the concrete jungle that y'all done created, we dictate. These kings is speaking for us. These queens right here are protected. These princes and princesses on Wedding Feast Wednesday will receive the training that they need to be able to get a seat at the King of Kings table. These princes and princesses will have a seat at the King of Kings table. And won't none of y'all prevent it from happening. We're putting together a team. Household by household. Husband by what? Husband. Wife by wife. Army of children by army of children. Inner city to inner city. County to county. Vineyard to vineyard. Marking off the territory and letting them know, yo, it's a wildlife sanctuary over here. The unnatural is unwelcome over here. And you can count on me. SPI. You can count on me, bro. And y'all can count on this man, this individual, to represent what manhood looks like. And you don't have to worry about looking down the road 2 years, 5 years, and hearing some counterfeit compromising. Nah, you can count on me.
Culture, street culture. That's Tupac of my generation. Pac was highly intelligent, but in our culture, street culture, especially his generation, intelligence was viewed as a form of weakness. How do you get the people that's really affected by, what we're trying to solve involved?
Yeah. Family broken, so I stand with my niggas. Showed up to every shootout, but I ran for my feelings.
Family broken, so I stand with my niggas. Family broken, so I stand with my niggas. Yeah, they done took the fathers out of our communities. Yeah, they done hit us with the school and prison pipeline. Yeah, they done hit us with the war on drugs. Yeah, they done hit us with the 3 strikes law. Yeah, they done hit us with mandatory minimums. They done hit us with mandatory minimums. They done hit us. Not the preppy white boys who go to college, Columbia University, NYU, Princeton, Yale, Harvard. They ain't hitting them with no mandatory minimums for the coke that they move. They ain't hitting them with no mandatory minimums for the acid and the ecstasy that they pop daily. They not hitting them. They have not artificially extracted manhood for generations out of their circles. When they are since the 70s. The fair skin and brown since the 70s have gotten a pass. Y'all seen Scarface? Y'all seen Scarface? Since the 70s have gotten a pass to move mountains and mountains of coke and heroin and every single drug. But who gets hit with the mandatory minimums for having small ounces of crack? Who? Whose children are targeted and profiled when they graduate from high school? They're not old enough to go to adult establishments for entertainment. They can't drink. They can't get into clubs. They can't even get into nightclubs. They're out of high school. They're in this limbo period for 3 years. There's no jobs in our communities. There's no. Yet, when they see 18, 19, 20-year-old individuals in cars, who they pulling them over? Who they pulling over? They're not doing that in the same Beverly Hills 90210 communities where these same high schoolers got cocaine, popping pills, doing every type of opioid under the planet. They not pulling them over. They not stopping and frisking them. They can walk down the street with kilos of coke. But you let my nephew be riding in the car with a roach of weed. He going to jail every time. Family broken, so I stand with my niggas. Y'all hear them lines and y'all just let it go. Listen, man, he telling you. Family broken. They annihilating our family. And we just want to go out there and get their education and be trained to work in their jobs to make them wealthy so they can continue extracting and destroying the family? Nah. Every single entity that they have created, we creating a competitor for. If they created a chain of banks, we creating chains of banks. They created fake professional leagues that prey on our talent. No, we're going to take our talent and we're going to create the professional leagues that pay like they won't pay. What happens? Their entities go out of business because they can't compete financially. Because the financial structure is unnatural, so it cannot win when you put the correct, proper structure in place. All you got to do is do that which is natural, supernatural. To take your life back, all you got to do is that which is supernatural, because the whole system is unnatural. You ain't got to protest. They want you to protest. It's a waste of time. Because the individual that you going and you doing civil rights with, they own. Every one of your lawmakers, they own. Every one of your governors, they own. They want you to go into their fake system and look to their fake system for that which you could do on your own. Destroy it and tear it down.
Time for those, I got a plan to get millions. Whoever don't agree, I see you back in the buildings. That's why I never let y'all act like a victim. That's why I never let y'all kill my ambition. You weren't built for the mission.
You weren't built for the mission.
In the back of the village, River Tony started washing them dishes. It was all a decision. Fast down, he took a part of me with him. Heart broken like my artery missing.
Heart broken like my artery missing.
Ain't broken, they can't harvest you, nigga. Swore shit, it got a heart to it, nigga.
Just want to know I can count on you. Can I count on you? Y'all ready to play? For keeps? Can we count on you? They can target these men, because real men won't identify and stand shoulder to shoulder. Can I count on you? You can count on me.
Mathematical mogul, marathon and making moves, taking the heartbreaking
Brainless and
breaking news. Nephews, nieces, siblings, see, stay confused, waking up, shaking, aching, praying that it's April Fools. Chosen child from the now down, snakes
By the low,
snakes and fake styling,
97th Street,
violent visions gave victims,
Compton's finest,
motivated, demonstrated,
LA's finest.
Truths don't die, we multiply. I ain't make the rules. Self-medicate, meditate, and celebrate the blues. Neighborhood, roller coaster, you can take the cruise, I'm good. Blue laces, suede Puma's favorite shoes. Jesus to the generations, you never say me on my babies. What beautiful gift Pluto ever gave me. For such a precious life, who decides price? I couldn't feel the slides twice, cause they crucified Christ.
So let me show you. Let me show you what they tried to take from the community. So when we say the marathon continues, when my brother says, be about your marathon at all costs. Be about your marathon at all costs says, yo, it don't matter what price we gotta pay to finish the race. It don't matter. It don't matter what got to go out of our lives. Be about your marathon at all costs. It don't matter what we got to throw out. It don't matter what lie that you allowed them to tell to you. Be about your marathon at all costs means, yo, we pay whatever price to make it right. Whatever price to get the reparations that's due. I don't care who told the lie. I don't care how much you believe you love the people who've been perpetuating the lie. Be About Your Marathon at all costs says, yo, ain't nobody besides this team bringing to our communities, well, I'm about to show you, what's so dope about Nipsey is he was taken out of the way before we had the opportunity to link and connect the dots between what he was doing on the West Coast and what we doing out here on the East Coast. But besides us out here for the past 20 years with Break the Cycle, I ain't seen nobody outside of what we done gave back to the hood doing this. And just imagine, what I'm about to show y'all is what Nip put in place. And if it wasn't for a Spider Lope saying, be about your marathon at all costs, if it wasn't for a Dr. Life and Break the Cycle, they would have got this off. This priceless treasure and investment that was made would have been swept under the rug and nobody would have said a peep. Ain't nobody talking about it. This is life changing. This is flip the tables on inequality, on poverty, on the generational curses of poverty in the hood from former gangbangers. The most notorious sets in LA, rolling 60s on the west side of LA. 97th Street, East Coast Crip, where Tookie Washington, Tookie Williams, Raymond Washington originated the Crips from 97th Street, Spider's Hood. Nipsey, Victory Lap, the Marathon, Spider Lope, Baymax, be about your mankind at all costs. Be about your motherhood at all costs. Be about your manhood at all costs. Be about the marathon, wherever price it is to pay. To a race. We're in a technological age where the Europeans have artificially created a place called Silicon Valley. And they've been artificially launching Europeans exclusively into the financial stratosphere. Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg. It took technology, put it over here in a place in Silicon Valley, and then took Silicon Valley and exported Silicon Valley to China. And all of y'all running around here with y'all worthless degrees, just like our NCAA March Madness basketball players and football players, your worthless degrees. They tell you, be a slave for this paper. It's called peonage, y'all. It's called peonage. Slavery by another name. And the new term of the slavery that they've exported to people of color is called peonage. I don't care if you're making $70,000 a year. In the digital technological age that you live in, $70,000? 125,000? Slave. When you and your whole family, if all men are created equal, if you had equal access, equal playing field, equal training, equal investment into skill development, your whole families, everybody in your whole family would be like the Sam Waltons, would be like the IBMs. We talk about Wedding Feast Wednesday. Whole family come together for the bridal party. The whole family comes together and celebrates the couple on their day. The Most High God designed His covenant to produce abundant life for every family, that two became one. Now I'm going to show you what they tried to take from you. Show you what they took from me.
Next to a person. We recently opened up an inner city co-work space in the vein of WeWork. We work for local entrepreneurs, you know.
Just pause. We opened up an inner city co-work space. Hold on.
We recently opened up an inner city co-work space in the vein of WeWork. We work for local entrepreneurs, you know what I mean? And we got, I think...
For local entrepreneurs. We set up in the heart of Crenshaw, in the heart of LA, for our neighborhood, for people who want to launch businesses. For people who want to get into the technological age. For people who want investors to be able to find them. For people from our neighborhood to launch their businesses.
8 entrepreneurs that all have products in the tech space that are in the building with us. And we also have a science, technology, engineering, and math center on the second level.
We also have a science, technology, engineering, arts, and math center. We also have a science, technology in our program. We got a science, technology, recreation. Hold up. Recreation. Science, technology, engineering. Science, technology, recreation, engineering, arts, math, streams. When you leave out recreation, we allow them to take $12 trillion annually and extract $12 trillion annually out of our community. And that's not even a quarter of the value, because they making 12 trillion off of 10% and less of the population of our communities who have the ability to recreate on the same levels. March Madness is around basketball. NCAA basketball. Nowhere else in the world can they produce the same product. Only one place in the world. They got universities all around the world, y'all. They have universities all around the world. These clowns claim they playing basketball all around the world. So if you're playing basketball all around the world and you got universities all around the world, why don't they have collegiate level basketball? Because we are the basketball players. We are the basketball players. they wouldn't have European basketball all around the world if the people who don't go to college here weren't going all over the world and chasing. We got a nerve. We got a nerve to tell our boys, if you don't go into the system and play for free, if you don't go into a fake artificial system and be a slave and play for free, then you could go overseas to Europe, to the Middle East, and they'll pay you. Right now, straight out of high school, they'll pay you. No, they're not going to pay you what you're worth. It's slavery over there too. You got to leave your children. Unnatural, man-made disasters. They pay and they created leagues all over the world. Turkey, Europe, Asia. They don't got nobody in none of them countries that can play ball. If we wasn't going there, they wouldn't have no leagues. You can let them talk to you about the Euro League if you want to. Rucker Park. Nass Park. Calwater Park. Our parks all over the country have created a $12 trillion industry that we allow simply because they done programmed and brainwashed our parents to tell us, go to school, get an education, get a job, be a slave, child, be a slave. That's all I know. That's all I know. Rolling 60s Crip. Got enough backbone. Say, not only am I going to walk away from the game, I'm going to take the bread that I amass from investing in myself and I'm going to reinvest into every last one of y'all picking up a word of God. You should be embarrassed. You should be embarrassed. Every last one of y'all claim y'all are ordained pastor. You should be embarrassed. You should be ashamed of yourself. You should quit. You should quit. Because if this ain't the example of the King of Kings, I'm going to invest in myself. Then I'm going to go invest in my people. I came to set the captives free. It is for freedom's sake that I have set you free. Now do not be burdened again by a yoke of slavery. Don't settle for servitude in no circle, under no circumstances. Not in my neighborhood. Not in Galilee. Not in Nazareth. Slave who? Where? Cast your net on the other side of the boat. You striking out? You trying to put food on the table and you striking out? Cast your net on the other side, yo. I can help you win. The only reason why I'm here is to make sure you win. You hungry? You thirsty? You give them to eat. Disciples, you've been eating with me every day for 3 years. Now give my people something to eat. How dare you eat from my table and don't break bread with those who starving around you? How dare you come in my presence and eat? How dare you upgrade your lifestyle from my principles and my character? How dare you reap the benefits of my heritage and my customs and gorge yourself? And comfortable going. Y'all ain't even going home no more. And and we reward these NBA athletes. Y'all support LeBron James? How can you support? How can you support LeBron James, who is willing to be a face of a system, knowing your mama was a crack addict in heroin and a crack addict in Akron, Ohio, knowing that it's an army of mother crack addicts still in Akron? It's an army of little boys and girls running around whose parents is victim to the system. You approaching $1 billion in income. It's no way in the world. Akron. If every NBA player, if every NFL player who ever played the game, if every one of them applied the system that we putting in place, where every one of our kings that we came up with, every man that has ever invested in us and invested in our manhood, we declare the neighborhood, the families, the streets, the schools, as holy ground. That investment wouldn't have happened without the individuals that invested in them. But when they go back to them same blocks that they came from, them blocks look the same like the blocks where my daddy was resurrected from. There's no way in the world I'm going to allow Frank Leggett to close his eyes and Trenton, New Jersey to still be the same way it was. There's no way in the world. There's no way in the world you get plucked from that. And we leave them blocks the same. The kids going to Monument Elementary School still getting the same trash that they was getting. No, ain't no way in the world. Them kings, them queens, gonna get plucked like Frank got plucked. Otherwise, it was worthless. If the first dough is holy, then the whole batch is holy. This is what the Most High God said in Romans chapter 11. If the first batch is holy, then the whole batch is holy. Meaning, if I pluck somebody from your neighborhood and I give them abundant life, and everybody from that neighborhood is plucked, the whole batch.
For young kids to be able to get trained in the skill set that it takes to get into Silicon Valley.
I just want to ask everybody here in the audience, how many of y'all are familiar? First of all, anyone have kids?
Y'all missed it, yo.
Entrepreneurs that all have products in the tech space that are in the building with us. And we also have a science, technology, engineering, and math center on the second level for young kids to be able to get trained in the skill set that it takes to get into Silicon Valley.
I just want to ask everybody here in the audience, how many of y'all are familiar? First of all, anyone have kids in the audience? Okay, 1, 2, 3, all right. Are you familiar with the STEM program? Now, the fact that this man right here has invested his time and space for that, I think that's worth a round of applause.
Absolutely amazing.
The businesses on one floor, the science, technology, engineering, arts, and math lab for the second floor for the future generation of tech businesses. This is called the pipeline. We got the same thing. We dropped the same thing in Chicago. Dropped the same thing in Huntsville, Alabama. We dropped the same thing here in Orlando, Florida. And every last one of these rungs that we've climbed, because technology has increased, the Most High God has opened the window of heaven blessing even wider and expanded the territory and the reach. But the reason nobody knows nothing about it, because ain't nobody else doing it. And the reason we caught it is because it has been our dream. So when I got the call from my brother, yo, we got the plug in Chris show. I'm seeing way beyond the marathon clothing, having access. I'm seeing, yo, when we connect these two coasts, or what we doing over here on the East Coast and what they doing over on the West Coast, and we put this machine together, and what I'm telling to my brother, Spider Luke, right here and right now, the job's still gonna get done. We still gonna get the job done. He's talking about a pipeline where present day businesses who can't afford to go and get no office space, who can't afford to have the professional look, they done invested and created the professional spot where they could come. And if they don't have the money to pay the rent, they could use 1 day, 2 days out the week, whatever skill set, see, because they have a skill set. Come on, man. The business already has a skill set. And because Nipsey has multiple businesses, the business could use its skill set and apply it to one of the other revenue streams that Nipsey has going on to be able to earn the overhead for the rent. So now that the rent is out the way by Tuesday in the week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday, the rest of those days, they can conduct their business and make their profit in a professional working environment. And then you got the shorties down on the other level, learning science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. For those of y'all who don't know, the product, they are becoming the producers of tomorrow. They are creating, learning the skill sets to be the Mark Zuckerbergs of tomorrow, the Steve Jobs of tomorrow. And the only reason why you don't see people of color owning the Apples, the IBMs, the Microsofts, the Facebooks, the Twitters, is because they have artificially and unnaturally put it out of reach. And the only people who is giving out people access is some Crips over on the West Coast. And some break the cycle soldiers from the East Coast, from Brooklyn to Trenton. And an army of dudes in the Midwest, dudes and women, Chi-Town in Detroit, my main man, E.T. the hip hop preacher, my wife, Kanisha, and her army of brothers and sisters in Chi-Town, As soon as we showed up, went to work, we don't got no gang problems. We don't have no gang problems in our community. We don't have drug problems in our community. We don't have problems with prostitution. We don't have problems with violence. We don't have problems with crime. We don't have any of those issues in our community. What we have is somebody has bait and switched and given us the wrong business model. Someone has stolen the Father's business plan for our life. I know the plan that I have for you. A plan to prosper you, give you hope and a future. We don't have a generational curse of poverty. Our brothers and sisters are settling for a cycle of poverty, yes. The moment that our brothers and sisters stop settling for this unnatural, fake, artificial cycle, Nipsey is proof. Without the spiritual component. Hello. Proof. You can walk away from the death and destruction that they try and tell us is our only option. You can walk away from drug dealing, which they try and tell us is our only option. This man did everything that the Creator calls us to do every day, spiritually. With no attachment to no direct spiritual call. It's called supernatural. It's called written. It's called your DNA. It's who we are. Without any outside interference, this is what we will do. If the system wasn't rigged, this is who we are. So what are you going to do about the system being rigged? That's the question. How many of our families got to fall victim until those of us who have the ability to do something, do something?
Next to a person, and we ain't really speak.
Speed freaks devour speed.
It's a space for I deposited that into my the inner city co-work space and incubator is called Vector 90. They got a detail right up online, just vector90.com. But in a nutshell, it's a space for entrepreneurs from the inner city to have an office and be able to have an upscale presentation for their meetings, and they when they interview employees, or just want to bring investors in to possibly invest in what they're doing.
If your neighborhood don't have something like this in it, and all of y'all got access to us, if your neighborhood don't have this in it, but your neighborhood has all of the other traditional death traps, after you see this here today, every last one of y'all should say, what can I do What role can I play to be about the marathon at all cost? In my neighborhood, in somebody else's neighborhood, in Chicago, listen, where do I sign up? This is simply an enlistment recruitment. This is Ray Kroc, who saw in McDonald's what the two brothers who had it ain't have a clue of what they had on their hands. And Ray Kroc saw the vision and went around the country to sell the vision that he saw for McDonald's to other individuals who simply wanted to profit. In our scenario, I'm coming to individuals who want to perpetuate abundant life. And abundant life flows two ways, just like the tide. The tide always goes out and the tide always comes back in. That's the moon's job. Cash flow. Land flowing with milk and honey is the promise of our abundant life covenant. The tide goes out and the tide always comes back in. It's unnatural not to send the tide out, y'all. It's unnatural not to send the prosperity out. The prosperity has to go out first. Then you can eat. You're filled when the tide comes back in. That's it. The window of heaven is supposed to open up and you're supposed to direct the flood to your corner, your sphere of influence. You're supposed to direct your portion of the flood and send the tide out. And after you send the tsunami of abundant life out in your corner, your tide gonna come back in, yo. The tide never goes out and stays out. That's unnatural. The system has already been designed for you to have the abundant life. That's why he said, above and beyond what you can ask or think. He's already built into the system the supernatural abundance. We just won't take our position. We just won't play our role on the team. And that's what we know how to do the best. This is what I don't get. This is what I don't get. That's what we do. We the ones that execute. We the ones that make teams better. We the ones that win. So I don't understand why it's so hard for our people to do what we automatically, supernaturally already do, yo.
Or even just to create a synergy between like-minded people locally, to not have to drive to Beverly Hills or go 30 minutes from where you live, to be able to have a curated space, high-speed internet, trademark lawyers that come through on rotation, and
trademarks. This man simply created a place where businesses in the community will flock to. And then once he get them there, he amasses all of the other resources that they need, that they don't even know that they need themselves. Investment, trademark lawyers. He created a spot where the people who want to do better, who want to get free. All they got to do is show the desire. All they got to do is show the work ethic that he showed. All they got to do is want to do something different than what they lying to you and telling you that all we could do. When people come to the spot with that tenacity, that determination, that's all it takes. The rest of the resources will be rerouted. This is exactly what we do, yo.
And also have access to capital, because Dave Gross was my partner, myself. You know, every year we're gonna pick one of the entrepreneurs and we're gonna do their round A seed and investment into their companies. So I think it's just a unique idea that
every year we pick one of our companies and we invest. Not like the Shark Tank. We already invested in them to make them win. But now we're going to see whichever one is the leader of the pack. Whichever one demonstrates in 2020 that they are head and shoulders above everybody else, we're going to make the investment to put them over the top. Then in 2021, we're going to pick another one. Every last hood that we got. It's our goal. Every last hood. This is the marathon that we running. At all costs. We trying to see if we got some partners out here. Some takers who want to bet on our people. We just want to see if we got some takers. Create a space. Businesses come. Did you hear him? Internet. Y'all don't know how many of our people would like to get in business. They don't have no computers. If they just had access to a computer, internet, they would create their logos, they would build a website, launch, all of this. What this got to do with hip hop, y'all? They still tried to sell y'all that this was just a gangbanger. That's when he died. That's what they tried to sell to the public. See, Pontius Pilate washed his hands. Pontius Pilate washed his hands like, yo, I ain't got nothing to do. Nah, you killed him. Oh yeah, you sacrificed the Messiah. You can't wash them hands, homie. So they tried to dumb nip down and tell you, yo, the individuals who was threatened by this, the status quo rap industry exec, career was about to be over. You can't artificially keep manufacturing and selling Jay-Z as the king of New York, who does the exact opposite from what Nip did. Jay-Z partnered with a bank, Barclays Bank. It's a European, London-based bank. Not only launders money for the drug cartel, terrorists. They had a direct hand in the too big to fail crash, recession that left so many of our people homeless, out on the street. I know for a fact. I had a whole summer program filled with young people in the science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. In 2009, I had a 6-week summer camp, a job placement summer camp. Not only were they learning science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, but they also got their lifeguard certification to be able to work at all of the resorts, all of the Disney swim parks, all of the theme parks as lifeguards after the completion of our program. And overnight we lost half of our people because of the financial crisis. Then this clown went, sold Barclay to Brooklyn, that the Barclay Arena was going to infuse millions of dollars annually into the Brooklyn community. It's going to be a stimulus. He let that Russian billionaire come over here, set the team up, then sell it to the Asian nigga that created Alibaba. The team ain't even in Brooklyn now. It's in Long Island. Brooklyn ain't seen no infusion of nothing. They gentrified Brooklyn. They raised the rents in Brooklyn. Our people can't even afford to live in Brooklyn. It's the Russian billionaire who lives in London. It's the London yuppies who've taken over Brooklyn. Then when the Russian billionaire bailed and made his profit, Jay-Z bailed. No accountability to our people. That's why they made him the king of New York, artificially. That's who the rap industry wants. They want lackeys. They want no life, worthless, mutt, rat pack niggas. The Sammy Davis Jr. type. That want to be Frank Sinatra so bad. They want a rat pack Sammy Davis Jr. type nigga that only can see Frank Sinatra, Vegas, that they willing to sacrifice every last one of their people to sit at the table with Frank Sinatra, to run around behind Marilyn Monroe. So they can sit down and eat with Babe Ruth. But how can a Jay-Z compete with a nigga who dropped his debut album and is already transforming his hood financially? How can Meek Mills compete? How can Rick Ross compete? Huh? How the heck Kodak Black? How could they compete? When their whole job is just to sell you the same death and destruction. That Rick Rubin and Lawyer Cohen hired them, that Jimmy Iovine, Tommy Mottola, European fake Hebrew, Barnum and Bailey circus. That's what you're dealing with. And because my man wasn't going to play. My man went underground for 12 years to do it his way. To not bind himself to none of the Barnum and Bailey circus tricks. Went underground. Spider been underground for 15 years, yo. Won't compromise. My brother been underground for 15 years, yo. And we got the ability to reroute the financial status. Can y'all imagine if we went into every neighborhood and just controlled that 80% of recreation in football and basketball? In Queensbridge, we go get Nas. Set Nas free financially. And then Nas is our ambassador in the Queensbridge to be able to set up shop in Queensbridge and get the young people from Queensbridge the skills in the science, technology, engineering, and bring Silicon Valley to Queensbridge. And set up the Queensbridge. Basketball, football, boxing, track and field, swimming, volleyball, pro level leagues. From elementary, middle school, high school, and pro. All 4 levels. Pro on all 4 levels. Because we the best in the world on all 4 levels. In elementary, middle school, high school, and after high school, we the best in the world. Track and field, football, basketball, boxing, volleyball, swimming. If we rerouted the funds out of the fake corporate vultures' hands, and we determined, based off new covenants with real men and women from the neighborhoods where we came from, if you be our ambassador, we'll make this investment in these shorties and these families. Where can they eat at? Where can they exploit our people at? Nowhere. So we doing it in Trent in 2020. We doing it in Brooklyn in 2020. We're doing it in Chicago in 2020. We're doing it in LA in 2020. We're doing it in Atlanta in 2020. We're doing it in Huntsville, Alabama. We're doing it in Orlando and Miami in 2020. And then we're systematically, just like Ray Kroc and McDonald's, every year we're going to systematically add to the franchise. Systematically. All across the country, all across the world. Systematically.
We already got 8 entrepreneurs renting spaces out upstairs. The bottom level is going to double as a STEM center that we developing as we speak. You know, it's just the big picture goal is to help bridge the gap between, you know, the inner cities and number 1, Silicon Valley, number 2, just the entrepreneurial space by offering resources locally so that you don't have to number one, compete against all of the other similar, I guess, people in different areas. You know what I mean? You got something that's tailor-made to your environment, that's you right around the corner from, you get priority because you from this community. And number two, elevate the experience of the area to where when you over here, you know, you got the Marathon store, which you might feel like you on Fairfax or you on Rodeo when you walking in. And now when you go to Vector 90, which is on 62nd and Gramercy, about 10 minutes from the store, you know, you go in there and it's, you know what I mean, marble tables and glass installations. It's almost like an art gallery, you know, and it's just something to inspire hometown pride and also, you know, meet the entrepreneurs with great ideas closer to where they naturally exist, you know.
And this is what it looked like.
Make your business hum with Brother award-winning MFPs, printers, and scanners, custom workflow solutions, secure technology, mobile connectivity, and unparalleled support. That's Brother, always at your side.
A rap star and another man from the Crenshaw district have teamed up to give back to their community.
CBS 2's Joe Kwan says the space offers something for the next generation of business leaders.
This is Vector 90, a space for local entrepreneurs like Deshae Green.
I grew up around here, and there is absolutely no space like this.
A space to learn how to launch a business, something the single mom of twins has already tried with her own dating app.
Being a single mom, I wanted to date and checked out a couple dating apps, and I wasn't really feeling it.
She held business meetings at local coffee shops.
Traffic coming in and out, or, you know, babies crying.
But now she has a space where she can avoid those distractions that's sleek and spacious.
And if it's a little loud out here on the main workspace, inside these rooms right behind me is a little more privacy, a little more soundproofing where you can have a private phone call or meetings.
And it's 2 blocks from Green's home.
Literally in my backyard.
Real estate investor David Gross is the founder of Vector 90. He says he's been given many opportunities and this...
So every last one of y'all watching, your job on the joint is to remove David Gross, to remove the industry vultures that was trying to put themselves next to Nip. And then for your neighborhood and your community, you become our partner there. That's it. We just need homegrown, rooted assets. And we bring these homegrown, rooted assets. Then when we walk into a neighborhood, we're walking into your neighborhood. And we're going to move in your neighborhood the same way we move in our neighborhood. Because we cut from the same cloth. We're going to invest in your people and your institutions that made you who you were. Just like we invested in our institutions. And when we finish connecting these dots, the whole world going to wake up like, oh, that's how you do it. Yeah, that is. That's how you do it. It don't matter where in the world you've moved to. You can be living in Atlanta right now. This is called taking back your crown. Listen, no king has just one residence. But you cannot hand over your roots. You cannot hand over the root of who you are. I don't care where you're living at. That's what we've allowed the Europeans to do. They came from across the pond, and they don't even own those lands. Our ancestors even owned those lands in all of the 10 tribes of Europe. Well, I'll get to that later. But they done pointed to maps across an Atlantic Ocean and said that my king or queen's crown across the Atlantic Ocean has claimed this territory. What? Then they sent what they call governors to go govern the territories that they had no authority, no mandate, no power to claim. So why acknowledge them? When we the ones who the Most High God entered into a covenant with, because we still live and die by the covenant. We not disrespecting the Creator, telling individuals there was no such thing as creation. We not disrespecting the Most High, teaching our babies that we evolved. That is simply denying the Creator His glory. That simply identifies that you reject the covenant. I didn't reject it for you. You rejected it. You can't get mad at me because I don't agree and I don't reject the covenant. That just declares you have no right to the inheritance and no place at the King of Kings table. That's all that means. That has nothing to do with me. There wasn't a declaration of independence. There was a declaration of ignorance. Ignorance is voluntarily separating yourself from God. A declaration of ignorance. And when you co-sign that declaration by acknowledging their authority when they have none, acknowledging their courts when they have been judged, the handwriting on the wall was not just for Babylon of that day. It was for Babylon of every day. This is why the Most High God came in Revelation and said, Mystery Babylon, the great mother of harlots. But he judged Babylon in Daniel's presence. Mene, tekel, upharsin. You have been weighed in the balances. You have been tried and found wanting. Your kingdom has been taken from you and given to the Medes. Who are the Medes? Who are the Medes? That's our people's other problem. You don't know your ancestry. He said the men of Nineveh will judge this final generation. Who are the men of Nineveh? Who are the Medes? All you know about is the Hebrews, huh? Because the Romans need you to know about the Hebrews. Because the Hebrews said they serve Rome. That's right, that's all you know about is the Hebrews. When the Most High God came again and judged and told you Babylon has been judged in Revelation, he also told you, I love you, Philadelphia. To the angel of my people in Philadelphia, I know you. You have not forgotten my name. I love you, Philadelphia. What? Who? Who? Did he say Philadelphia? Huh? Oh, you thought that was a coincidence too? Huh? The men of Nineveh will judge this final generation. Your kingdom has been divided and taken from you and given to the Medes. I will send my bride, Philadelphia, into a place prepared for her by God, out of the reach of Babylon. Huh? What? Where did you think the men of Nineveh went to? Where did you think the Medes went to after he took the kingdom from the Babylonians? The Medes handed that capital Babylon to the Persians and they left with the crown. Oh, but you ain't follow your people, huh? He said, Babylon, your kingdom has been divided and taken from you and given to the Medes. And then the Medes left. The Medes left with the crown. This is 500 years before he was born. Then when he came back and he walked the earth, he said, the men of Nineveh will judge this final generation. Yo! He's saying my people still got the crown. He's talking to the Hebrews and the Romans and the Greeks. He's talking to Europe. He's in the so-called Middle East. He's in Jerusalem where they're trying to tell you is the holy city. Huh? Holy? Your house is left to you desolate. I took my crown from you. You are Babylon. You ain't got no crown. But our people never traced. Our people never thought it was important for God to say, I took the crown from Babylon and I gave it to a specific group of people. Oh, nobody want to take the time to study to show yourself approved. It's not important enough to find out where God's crown is. When he comes out of his mouth and says, yo, this group of people will judge this final generation. It's not important enough for us to dig down. When he's talking to the Jews, Hebrews, there's no such thing as Jews. That word doesn't exist. The Europeans created that term. Stop using it. You validate that they have authority to create something when they don't, when you use the terms that they created. There's no such thing. That group of people don't exist. Stop using the term. Erase it from history. And in Revelation 2 and 3, he said, Philadelphia, I love you. I know you know those who are the synagogue of Satan. Those who call themselves Hebrews but are not, but are liars. I will make them the synagogue of Satan. Those who call themselves Hebrews but are not, but are liars. They're all around you. They're in banking. They're in finance. They're in the diamond industry. They're in the record industry. They're in the movie industry. They're all around you, claiming a fake title. This is the King of Kings talking. And they're using some fake narrative about a slaughter that they did to our people and that they're still doing to our people. And they claim that they were the ones being slaughtered. So you can't talk about any of this history. It's off limits. It's off limits. No, it ain't off limits what you did. It ain't off limits the lie that you're telling. Because the King of Kings spoke on it. And if the King of Kings spoke on it, you better believe his children, we gonna speak on it. No. I know you know those who are the synagogue of Satan. Those who claim to be Hebrews but are not, but are liars. I will make them come down and bow down at thy feet to know that I have loved thee. And he is talking to Philadelphia. Who is Philadelphia? Philadelphia is the men of Nineveh. The men of Nineveh are the Medes. The Medes are synonymous with Sheba. Sheba is synonymous with the Ethiopians. The Ethiopians are synonymous with the Nubians. The Nubians are synonymous with Cush. Cush is synonymous with Ham. Ham is synonymous with Noah's covenant with God. Noah's covenant with God is synonymous with the sons of God covenant with God through Adam and Eve. The son of God and the daughter in the law of God. Get your heritage right. Get your ancestry right. That's why they call you everything else. A Negro, Black, African American. Because they right. An African American don't have no tongue, native tongue. An African American don't have a homeland. They're right. Because the Germans created it. It's a myth, just like every other myth they created. It's a brand name that they own. It's intellectual property made up in their heads to control you. And they pay niggas like Jay-Z to sell you, I'm black and I'm proud. I'm black and I'm proud. I'm proud to be the slave of the Germans. I'm proud to be exploited and sell my people out. This the best money I ever earned in my life. This 30 pieces of silver to be Judas. Okay. That makes sense if that's what he on. But if you not on that, if you not getting a cut of the 30 pieces of silver, the most insane thing in the world is for all of my people who ain't getting a dime to identify with the system. For all of my people seeking. When the king said, if you seek, you will find. And then for you to identify with anything that they putting up and think you found gospel, found abundant life, found the King of Kings, this counterfeit is still attractive to you? You ain't getting no cut of the 30 pieces of silver. And this counterfeit still, no, that's what I don't understand. I have no clue how our people who don't benefit no way. Oh, I understand Jesse Jackson's game. He on the other team. Okay, all right. And we got something for the nigga. I just don't understand my brothers and sisters who are the greatest teammates I ever played with in life being confused. I do not understand the individuals that contributed to us being able to see. I don't understand people who I know where you come from. We ate at the same tables. We drank from the same water fountain. We wore the same uniforms. We slept under the same roofs. I do not understand. When your children suffering the same persecution my children suffering, I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get how we celebrate a system that directly stands in opposition to the desires of our wives' hearts. Every system that they put in place preys on, unnaturally preys on everything that God calls fruitful. Everything that God calls fruitful. For Christians who claim to be politicians to go and lobby to keep wages at a minimum, to keep wages locked at a minimum for the past 40 years. In the same 40 years, while the wealthy elite Europeans in the United States and their colonialism headquarters, which is China now, that they then invested in over the same 40 years. So you got a group of like 500 families in the US and in Asia have exploded. Billionaires by the hundreds. 700,000 new millionaires alone in 2017, alone in the USA. 700,000. You tell me that ain't a system. You tell me that ain't a system that's in place. 700,000 in 1 year? And y'all still letting them tell you that you're a minority. Y'all show me one city that you have ever been in. You tell me one city that you ever been in. That everywhere you go, it ain't 80-20 people of color. Forget how they brainwashed Latinos and Spanish to think that they're Europeans. Forget how they brainwashed Caribbeans, people from the Caribbean. Forget how they brainwashed people from Africa, like Nigerians. Nigerians will be ready to fight you. If you didn't acknowledge them as a European. Try and call them a person of color. I dare you to call a Nigerian a person of color. And don't acknowledge that they are a European. Because the Germans colonized Nigeria. It's the most effective brainwashing ever. So you got all of these groups that they've put in the European camp that are people of color. And in 2020, y'all still letting them tell you the narrative. All they saying is the people that still ascribe to the brand of African American are 17% of the population. The people who are dumb enough to still acknowledge our slave brand are 17% of the population. But they don't tell you that they brainwashed our people from the West Indies? Jamaica? Jamaica is a British colony. Germany colonized Jamaica. Rastafarians with the CIA tried to assassinate Bob Marley. Rastafarians in cahoots with the CIA and British intelligence stormed the compound, shot at him, killed another dude in the same room. Bob Marley was a dead man if that man ain't take that in the back. Don't talk to me about the West Indians. Don't talk. Listen. All of our people have been brainwashed by this system. And they're isolating the individuals called Philadelphia that he allowed to go out into a place prepared by God. That he said, I will cause those who are the synagogue of Satan to bow down at thy feet. You want to know why you got a war on drugs? You want to know? God said, I will make them come and bow down at thy feet to know that I have loved thee. You want to know why they attacking your family and your home? Philadelphia? You want to know why they selling your babies in the public school system? Sex educational system? Sex education by a man. Alfred Kinsey, a disciple of Aleister Crowley, who practiced the black magical arts of sodomizing little boys to gain longevity and long life. This is the father of your sex education. Not to mention how many in this book that he created to launch the sex education in public schools. He studied hundreds and thousands of individuals' sexual practices and behavior. Including Aleister Crowley himself, who was also sacrificing and killing the victims that he was having sex with. Yeah, that's your sex education. Then y'all got a nerve to let them turn around and tell y'all that people like Alfred Kinsey have a right to have parades and march around here because God made them this way. They never are forced to answer the question, what God? They sell a system of education and they push an agenda and they silenced manhood. They silenced motherhood. They bullied morality into silence just by using a word, God. When the creator of heaven and earth, God, not the fake imposter fallen snake that's going to get crushed that they worship as God. In the same verse where he said, I love Philadelphia. He said, I know you know those who are of the synagogue of Satan. That is a God. That is a worship system. That is a priesthood. The synagogue is their place of worship. Acts chapter 7, Stephen identified the Hebrews and the Romans in this same synagogue of Satan. Stephen said, you are the tabernacle of Molech. Sanctuary, tabernacle is the same word. Synagogue, tabernacle, sanctuary. Stephen used, you are the tabernacle of Molech. Christ himself used synagogue of Satan. Tabernacle of Molech, synagogue of Satan is the same worship system. It's a priesthood, the same priesthood that they've been worshiping Satan as since Cain walked away from the covenant. It's the same priest. Tabernacle of Molech, synagogue of Satan. Tabernacle of Molech. Acts chapter 7, verse 51. Tabernacle of Molech, Star of Remphan. It's the same six-pointed Star of David. That has always been the star of the synagogue of Satan, Tabernacle of Molech. Six-pointed star of. Because the Hebrews said, we serve no God but Caesar. And then the Christians, after they killed all of the disciples and apostles, they allowed Caesar to brand them. The Greeks and the Romans created that name. Just like they created nigger. Just like they created African American. Just like they created Negro. Just like they created black. You ain't never hear the Creator. You ain't never hear his apostles. You ain't never hear his disciples use that term. Saul, when he was going to kill him, didn't even use the term Christian. He said, sign these documents, and when I find those found in the way, I could bring them to justice. Why would Saul call them people found in the way? Because the King of Kings presented himself to his people. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man come to the Father but by me. I am the way. Get in the way. So Saul, when they were identifying them in legal terms, he had to go and get a legal document that was bound by law. So he had to use the correct terminology to identify the people who are going to be brought up on charges. When he went into their courts, to get legally binding, he used the correct name. Those found in the way. When they were mocking the faithful as they were being fed to lions, Caesar and Pontius Pilate and the whole crowd would laugh, just like the KKK, just like the Christians, when they hung our fathers from the trees. Just like the evangelical Christians, right-wing evangelical Christians in the Bible Belt of the South. When they strung up our fathers, they chanted, nigger, nigger, nigger. Hang the nigger, hang the nigger. The Romans chanted the same thing in the Colosseum. Kill that Christian, kill that Christian. Nigger and Christian is synonymous. It's synonymous. Then when they couldn't kill those found in the way, they say, you know what? We're going to make this brand stick. We're going to baptize ourselves in Christianity. We're going to make it pop culture. We're going to make Christianity pop culture. This is where you get popular culture. God don't have culture. We don't have culture. God has customs. We are his ambassadors. You got to pass through customs to get into the kingdom. You got to pass through customs to get into any sovereign nation. Get beyond their borders. You got to pass through the customs of that nation. And you got to deal with the ambassadors of the sovereign nation to be able to get permission to visit or enter the sovereign kingdom. We don't have culture. That's the slaves, the black, ignorant black slaves have been taught pop culture. What's culture? Hidden. Hidden worship. That's what culture is. Occult means hidden. The root word of occult is cult. The root word of culture is cult. Cult means hidden. The Romans hid the fact that they were still worshiping Jupiter, Poseidon, Hermes, when they said they were Christians. They made Christianity popular by hiding their culture, their true culture. That is the definition of pop culture. And what do you have? A rap industry that sells the same Caesar, which is Germans, fascism. Fascism is Caesar's authority, which he has none. So it's a myth. It's a mythical term. Caesar has never had authority. Caesar will never have authority. Only the Creator has authority. Only Creator makes laws. That's why he said, nobody took my life. I laid it down. They don't got the power to take my life. They don't have the power to institute laws. They don't have the power to command my children to do anything. And if my children decide to lay down their life to be able to reach and make a statement to the world, then that is my children's choice. Can't nobody take nothing from them. He already told you. He judged Babylon. Do y'all know where Caesar went to get his crown? Do y'all know where the Romans? The Romans is barbarians. Just like the rest of the 10 European tribes. They barbarians. They ain't had no kingdoms. There was no kingdoms in Europe. None. The Romans came down into Egypt and followed the Babylonian priesthood that was evicted when God took the kingdom from them and gave it to the Medes. All of those satanic priests of Babylon, they moved when God evicted them that night, when God killed Belteshazzar. He killed the king of Babylon that same night when he judged them. That kingdom ended when God said it ended that same night. He wrote on the wall, judged them, said your kingdom is gone. He killed their king, and the priests fled to a place in Asia Minor called Pergamos. So when the Greeks went down into Egypt and set up shop, when Alexander the Great went down in Egypt and got the fallen, lost Nubians, sun god worship system, the Romans said, oh, we know another priesthood over here. If the Greeks went to Egypt, there's a priesthood that was higher than the Egyptians. The Egyptians got their priesthood from the Babylonians. Caesar Augustus, 50 years before Christ was born, goes to Pergamus. Said, we the new kings in town. And y'all priesthood without a kingdom. We can help each other. We the new kings. And we don't have no real system in place. We just worship in the synagogue of Satan, the tabernacle of Molech. That's all we know how to do. But y'all boys, y'all got a zodiac system. Y'all got this Easter thing. Y'all got the highest point of the solar equinox thing, and y'all do a festival at the highest point of the sun. And then y'all got this December 25th, the lowest point of the sun, what y'all call the death of Osiris. So y'all got a death and a resurrection? Man, the Hebrews got a prophecy about a Messiah that would die and be resurrected. Y'all, paganism is that sophisticated that y'all got a death and a resurrection in sun god worship? You mean to tell me we can still worship in the synagogue of Satan, the tabernacle of Molech, and have a prophecy about a Messiah? Oh, I need y'all priesthood. If y'all would consecrate me as y'all king, as y'all God on earth, as your king on earth, and as the high priest of your occult system, I'll make you my priest in my kingdom. The Pope right now wears a triple crown that he got from the Babylonian priesthood in Pergamus, Caesar. And every pagan Caesar and Christian Pope Caesar have all worn the crown of Nebuchadnezzar, of Belteshazzar. God, priest, king. That's the triple crown mitre that you see every pope wear. So if God judged Babylon and they put back on the crown of Babylon, and then they are the ones who divided the world between the Portuguese and the Spanish, and they are the ones that said that the Spanish were to colonize in the West for the Holy Roman Empire. Holy Roman Catholic Church. That's Babylon, y'all. So our brown brothers and sisters all this time have been doing the bidding. That's why South America and Central America is unfruitful the way it is. Because our brothers and sisters made a choice. Our ancestors was in South America and Central America just like they was in North America. They made a choice to entertain the Roman Catholics when they came. Our brothers and sisters made a choice, like Sodom and Gomorrah made a choice to follow Nimrod and not Job. And just like Sodom and Gomorrah was wiped off the face of the earth. The Aztecs and the Incas and the Mayans and all of the other people of color that were in Central and South America